Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 107th episode of Don't Forget the Popcorn. Today, we back with an Everything I Watched November edition. Watched a lot of new stuff since we're wrapping up the year, so listen for the new releases. There'll be more towards the end. I have my top 5 of the month as usual. We won't waste any time, so like and subscribe, follow me on Letterboxd, it's linked below, and let's get into Everything I Watched in November. Dial M for Murder, 1954, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Well, one of the masters of cinema, one of the best to ever do it. This is a film I should have saw a lot longer ago, but it took me a while, and I'm upset it did because this was an excellent film. A cool little, not really a murder mystery. The audience knows what's going on, but it's a mystery for everyone involved, which makes it pretty fun because you're just wondering, ooh, are they going to find out this or that? It's a great film, got Grace Kelly in it, one of the best to ever do it. Too bad she retired too young. I would absolutely suggest this to murder mystery fans. I am going to give Dial M for Murder an 8.4 out of 10. The Big Bird Cage, 1972, directed by Jack Hill. Well, this movie was okay. A blaxploitation film about women in jail. It's a whole trilogy. I think it's called the Women in Cages trilogy. Pam Grier stars, and she's great as usual. It's about these ladies who are teaming up kind of to get out of this weird prison camp that they're in. It's okay. It's a decent watch. Not the best blaxploitation movie, but if you're into blaxploitation films, I'd check it out. I'm going to give the Big Bird Cage, excuse me, a 6.3 out of 10. Constantine, 2004, directed by Francis Lawrence. Well, a fun little early 2000s one. I hadn't seen this in a long time, and I want to see how it held up. Well, it held up decent. It's not a bad watch. It's a fun little time. Rachel Weisz absolutely giving a stunning performance because she's just stunning. And same with my girl Tilda Swinton. But of course, the homie Keanu Reeves is doing his thing. Fun little film about, angels and devils and demons and stuff. It's a decent watch. I'm going to give Constantine a 6.7 out of 10. Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, 1989, directed by Pedro Almodovar. This guy is quickly becoming one of my favorite directors. Almodovar is absolutely great. In this movie, as much as I loved it, I had a lot of issues with it. This film, it's pretty much a Stockholm Syndrome film. It's about this guy who is in love with obsessed with this woman. And he pretty much kidnaps her and forces his love on her. And she falls for it. It's interesting, but it's a Almodovar, so it's done really well stylistically. It's beautiful, and I had a great time with it. It's not one of his best, but absolutely worth watching. I'm going to give Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down an 8 out of 10. Plan B, Questionable, 1992, directed by Mike Tarnowski, Jake Rosenberg, and David Schlossbach. Skate video, classic skate video, and I'm sorry I told you guys, I'm putting my skate videos on these lists because I do feel they're important. This is one of those timeless videos. It was this video actually has a lot of skate history and importance to it. It was a video that came out before Plan B kind of split off and Girl Skateboards was started. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't love this film. It's a little dated for me. The skating's decent. The style's there, the music's okay. But for me on a personal level, this just didn't hit for me like some of the other older skate videos. I know this is a beloved one, but for me, it didn't smack. I'm gonna give Plan B Questionable a 6.7 out of 10. And that's graded on a skate video scale. Cooley High, 1975, directed by Michael Schultz. A cool, fun little coming-of-age story, black story, set in Chicago, about some kids in high school just growing up and experiencing life and getting into trouble and trying to get girls and all the normal stuff 17, 18-year-olds go through. This is a very good movie. I was very shocked by the end. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't see it coming, and it kinda threw me off. If you're a coming of age fan, '70s fan, definitely would suggest this. I'm going to give Cooley High a 7.5 out of 10. This Boy's Life, 1993, directed by Michael Catton James. This Boy's Life, young Leonardo DiCaprio performance. We could see from this and, from Gilbert Grape, this kid was going to be a star. This kid had the talent. And we get, of course, the legendary Robert De Niro, and we get the beautiful Ellen Barkin. This film was awesome, man. I think it was a great story about stepfathers and, how I think this can be relatable to somebody who grew up with a single mom and never really had that father figure. And I actually think this film was brilliant in what it was trying to do. And I think every character isn't as evil as the movie maybe wants you to think they are. I definitely would suggest this to you. I'm going to give This Boy's Life an 8 out of 10. The Big Doll House, 1971, directed by Jack Hill. Now, I told you I was watching the Women in Cages trilogy. To be honest, I didn't watch the third one. And it's mostly because of this one. I did not like this movie very much. It was okay. I mean, I could see how all these films kind of just too similar. There was a couple cool little parts in here that I was vibing with, but other than that, I don't see myself picking this one up again. If you're a blaxploitation fan, I'd check it out. But other than that, it's just very similar to the other one. I'm gonna give The Big Doll House a 5.9 out of 10. Merchant of the Four Seasons, 1972, directed by Rainer Werner Fassbinder. One of my absolute favorite directors, making an absolute great movie. This movie, depressing as hell. It's about a man who sells fruit and he's drunk and he's got issues, but he actually starts to get his life together after some things happen. But man, this dude is just everything in his life is just not right. His relationship with his wife, his relationship with his family, his relationship with his kid. It all kind of sucks, man. And it's like, man, this movie kind of broke me a little bit. If you want a good, depressing film to watch, absolutely watch this. I'm going to give The Merchant of Four Seasons an 8.3 out of 10. The Virgin Spring, 1960, directed by Ingmar Bergman. Another one of my favorite directors. Ingmar always brings it. The Virgin Spring, oh man, this movie's rough, man. One of his rougher watches as far as tragedy goes. This film's about a young lady who is quite naive and religiously raised. Some tragedy happens to her, and her family is trying to get revenge for it, and it's pretty badass. The Virgin Spring, man, if you're into like hard-hitting revenge movies, this is definitely one of the pioneering ones. I'm going to give The Virgin Spring an 8.3 out of 10. Minefield from Alien Workshop, 2009, directed by Greg Hunt. Another skateboarding video. This is one of the best skate videos ever made, without question. We get legendary parts from legends like Rob Dyrdek, Josh Kaitless, and of course, Heath Kurt Chart and Anthony Van Engelen, Jason Dill, all at their best. But we can't forget the young guns like Dylan Reeder, rest in peace, Mikey Taylor. Like, my God, every single part in this video is good. I was blown away by what I was seeing. But Heath Kurt Chart, my God, you're a legend. This is a skate video rating, so, I'm going to give Minefield a 10 out of 10, man. It's one of the best skate videos ever made. Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, 1974, directed by Martin Scorsese. I thought I had seen this movie, but I realized I haven't, and I felt like a terrible Scorsese fan. Starring the amazing Ellen Burstyn. one of the best. And my man Chris Christopherson. This film is about a woman who was recently widowed, and she's trying to figure out how to navigate life as a single mother. And she makes a lot of mistakes, and like anyone would, she had the rug pulled from under her. And I just think it's a good story about how life can go when tragedy strikes. If you're a single mom, definitely watch this. It'll probably make you feel better about things. I'm going to give Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore a 7.8 out of 10. Shortcuts, 1993, directed by Robert Altman. This here, we got our first top 5 of the month. Robert Altman, another favorite of mine. Man, he brought it with this one. Clearly a direct inspiration on Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia. Shortcuts is a bunch of short stories that are all weaved in together, that all are loosely kind of connected to each other. It's got an incredible cast of some of the best stars from the early 90s. It's got a great story, great direction. It's a long boy. It's like 3 hours and 10 minutes, but man, I was glued from start to finish. I absolutely love this movie. I'm going to give Shortcuts a 9.2 out of 10. The Magic Flute, 1975, directed by Ingmar Bergman. Ingmar, this guy knows how to do everything. The Magic Flute is a film adaptation of Mozart's opera by the same name. And this movie's just magical. It's beautiful. It's fun. I love it. If you don't like opera, you're not going to like it. I myself, I've seen operas and I enjoy them, but I really, really enjoyed this film. I'm going to give The Magic Flute an 8.4 out of 10. The Basketball Diaries, 1995, directed by Scott Calvert. Another young Leonardo movie and young Mark Wahlberg. This movie is crazy, man. I think this was the film that really showed us that not only Leonardo was a great actor, but also Mark Wahlberg. We got some young high school kids who end up becoming drug addicts. And man, this true story, it hits hard. I won't lie. Leo in that last scene, he put a tear in my eye. He really did. I would suggest this to anyone. I'm going to give The Basketball Diaries an 8 out of 10. Modus Operandi from Transworld Skateboarding, 2000, directed by Ty Evans. Sorry guys, another skate video, but like I said, they're important. Modus Operandi, absolutely incredible. Mark Johnson, Mike Carroll. You know, this was essentially a mini Girl in Chocolate video. This video was great. Some great early 2000s skateboarding. Absolutely loved it. I'm going to give Modus Operandi a 9 out of 10. Look Back, 2024, directed by Kiyotaka Oshiyama. Well, we got our second top 5 of the month. A quick 55-minute movie that they put on Amazon Prime about 2 young girls who draw manga who, man, end up getting split apart by a series of events. I absolutely love this movie. It was well animated, it was well written, and it hit my heartstrings. For a movie this short, man, it really did hit. I would suggest this to anyone, especially anime fans. I'm going to give Look Back a 9 out of 10. Braveheart, 1995, directed by Mel Gibson. A film I haven't seen in a long time, a 3-hour epic that's bloody, brutal, and violent as hell. I did not remember this movie being so violent. This movie's about a young Scottish man who falls in love with a woman, and she's murdered by some assholes, and bro, he just goes on a crazy revenge tour against pretty much a whole country. Hey, if you like historical action movies, violence, this is right up your alley. I'm going to give Braveheart a 7.4 out of 10. Crimes and Misdemeanors, 1989, directed by Woody Allen. Man, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a Woody Allen fan. I think he's a really good writer. This movie is very well written. I actually like this quite a bit. It's about a man who is married to a woman and he has a side piece, and his side piece is sick of being a side piece, and she's ready to blow up his marriage in order to get him to commit to her. And of course, things go nutty. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. I would suggest this to anyone, especially if you're into, I guess, rom coms. I guess I'm going to give Crimes and Misdemeanors an 8 out of 10. Atomic Blonde, 2017, directed by David Leitch. Eh, run of the mill action movie. You got Charlize Theron. You got my man. Why his name is missing me? James McVoy. He's great in this. Uh, this is the most basic formulaic action movie you could ask for. It's I doesn't do much for the genre. Doesn't hurt it either. I'm going to give Atomic Blonde a 6.4 out of 10. On the Beach Alone at Night, 2017, directed by Hang Sang-soo. Well, this movie was quite interesting. After I watched it, I found out this was like kind of loosely based on the director's life, which made it feel quite vain. But this movie's about a young woman who she was in a relationship with a married guy. She kind of moves away to clear her head. I guess she's an actress, which they don't really touch on that much, but she is. And it's her just kind of going through life, figuring things out and talking to different friends and stuff like that. I enjoyed it for the most part. Can't say it's for everyone. I'm going to give On the Beach Alone at Night a 7 out of 10. In Bloom by Transworld Skateboarding, 2002, directed by Ewan Bowman. This was fire. Young Paul Rodriguez, young Chris Cole, young Evan Hernandez. Man, wish he was still around. You get a bunch of young guys from the early 2000s just going hard. Great skate video. Transworld really was making some good ones back in the day. I'm going to, if you're a skater, you gotta watch this if you haven't seen it. I'm gonna give In Bloom a 9 out of 10. Into the new stuff. My Old Ass, 2024, directed by Megan Park. I actually like this film more than I thought I would, even though I felt like I was let down by the marketing. They marketed this as an Aubrey Plaza movie. I'm gonna just tell you right now, Aubrey Plaza is barely in this movie. But it is a good coming of age story about a young woman who takes shrooms one night and ends up meeting herself in the future from the drug trip. And she's trying to warn her about certain things, and she doesn't want to listen, and for good reason. And you'll see why. It's actually quite a sweet film. I'm going to give My Old Ass a 7.3 out of 10. Chicken Bone, now its own. Chicken Bone from Shake Junt, 2010, directed by Shane Heil. Sorry, guys, another skate video. If you know about Shake Junt, you know about Shake Junt. Chicken Bone, just a fun ass skate video. Great hijinks. If you're a Baker fan, Death Wish fan, this is right up your alley. I'm going to give Chicken Bone an 8 out of 10. The Wild Robot, 2024, directed by Chris Sanders. We got our third top 5 of the month. Or is this our fourth? Whatever. We got our third. Now this is our third. Third top 5 of the month. The Wild Robot was beautiful. It was brilliant. I absolutely love this film. This and Inside Out are probably the best of the year. And this movie was just hits the heartstrings. This film's about a robot who was created by a company to essentially just be like an aid to any humans. It gets lost somewhere in the woods and has to adjust to being out in the wild with the animals. And this robot ends up taking care of a young bird who is she. I ain't gonna tell you. Just watch this movie. It's absolutely incredible. Top 5 of the month. I couldn't suggest it more. I'm going to give The Wild Robot a 9.2 out of 10. All right. Megalopolis 2024, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. Now, I love me some Francis Ford. Everyone dogged this movie out. They said it was bad, horrible, too long, all that. I'm gonna tell you right now, this movie is not nearly as bad as people made it out to be. I actually enjoyed this film. I'm not gonna say I loved it, but I was very in it. I was in it while I was watching it. The beginning's a little but I think it picks up. It's really just a futuristic sci-fi version of a Shakespeare play. At the end of the day, I think it's actually a creative take on it. I'm gonna suggest Megalopolis to you. I think everyone should form their own opinion on this movie. Don't let the people sway you from watching this. Check it out and make up your own mind. I'm gonna give Megalopolis a 7.4 out of 10. Saturday Night 2024, directed by Jason Reitman. We got our 4th top 5 of the month. I absolutely loved this movie. Saturday Night, it's just about the first few hours leading up to the very first episode of SNL. And it's such a fun, funny, but yet tense and kind of like gripping ride. I think this movie has every emotion that you kind of want from a movie in it. And these young actors playing these beloved stars, Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Jim Henson, like all these guys brought their A game when portraying these characters. And my girl Rachel Sennett, she is a star. She is a star. I absolutely love this film. Can't wait to watch it again. I would suggest this to anyone. I am going to give Saturday Night a 9.1 out of 10. The Substance 2024, directed by Coralie Farge. I'm going to tell you right now, not only is this the top 5 of the month, this is the number 1 film of the month. And this is probably my favorite movie of the year. I absolutely loved this movie. I thought it was brilliant. I thought the story was brilliant. What it's about, the themes, the freaking cinematography, the score, the acting, everything about this movie works. Times 3. Demi Moore, I'm looking at you. You are still absolutely beautiful and you killed this role. Margaret Qualley, you are a star in the making. You killed this role. And Coralie Farge, I cannot wait to see what you do next. Dennis Quaid, love what you did in this movie. I just adore this movie. I actually did an entire long-winded review on this film. I will link it below. It's long, but if you like this movie, I absolutely suggest watching it all and listening to what I have to say about it. I think this movie is one everyone, absolutely everyone on this planet needs to watch. I think it helps us to understand women, what they go through, and how they feel at certain stages of life. And this movie opened my eyes up to a lot of things. And with that said, I'm going to give The Substance, which in my review, I gave it a 9.8. I'm changing that now because I've seen this movie 3 times. I am going to give The Substance a perfect 10 out of 10. New Balance Intervals 2024, directed by Kyle Carmelio. The New Balance skate video. Jamie Foy, Brandon Westgate, and Tiago. Bro, these guys killed it. Jamie Foy is going to win Skater of the Year. He murdered it. Sorry, Shane O'Neill. I loved your part. And sorry, Braden Hoban. You put up a really good fight too. But this is going to Jamie Foy this year. This guy is defying gravity. He's changing the game. You got to see him. I'm going to give New Balance intervals a 9 out of 10. Dickies Honeymoon 2004. Now, sorry, had to do back-to-back skate videos. This is the Dickies, you know, the clothing brand. They have a skate team, if you guys didn't know, and they put a video out this year, and it's pretty good. You got my man Guy Mariano in it, a legend, love him. Jamie Foy in this again, killing it, man. This guy is going crazy this year. You got my man Tom Knox. Man, there's some great parts in this video. I like this video a lot. I'm gonna give Dickies Honeymoon an 8 out of 10. Touch of Zen, 1971, directed by King Hu. Now, I like this director a lot. This 3-hour epic is absolutely awesome. It's a fun samurai movie. This dude he knows how to kill it with the samurai movies. He's got great action, a good story, strong female leads, everything you want in a nice classic 70s samurai epic. I'm going to give Touch of Zen an 8.8 out of 10. We Live in Time, 2024, directed by John Crowley. The new Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield Brom movie. This movie was good. It was good. It didn't make me cry. It didn't break my heart, but I thought Andrew and Florence worked well together. I thought they had good chemistry. Good story. I like the way they cut it up and edited and wove it in to keep us interested. If you're a rom-com fan, I would suggest this. I'm going to give We Live in Time 7.4 out of 10. A Different Man, 2024, directed by Aaron Schimberg. One of the more interesting movies of the year. I think this and The Substance actually kind of live in the same space. Now, this wasn't as good as The Substance, but this movie was pretty good. It's about a man who has an interesting deformity, if you will, and he ends up getting rid of it, kind of becoming a normal person and realizing that the grass ain't always greener. I thought this movie showed us a lot of good themes, and I think this is a movie everyone should watch right now, especially with the climate of the world and how people feel about themselves. I'm going to give A Different Man an 8.4 out of 10. And last, some would call it least, but I'm not going to call it least. Joker, Folie à Deux, 2024, directed by Todd Phillips. Now, Joker Folie à Deux, everyone's been dogging this movie all year, and people were like, it's terrible, it's terrible, it's terrible. I'm going to tell you right now, this movie is not terrible. This movie's actually pretty good until the last 30 minutes, and then it just pisses you off. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I'm just going to let you know. I absolutely think this movie is worth watching. I actually had a great time watching it. I was actually loving this movie. Lady Gaga, love that woman. Incredible. Her voice, something about that woman's voice just speaks to my soul. I love her voice. Joaquin Phoenix, of course, giving a great performance. But the problem is, as good as he still is, you feel like he doesn't want to be here. And that bothers me. And you can feel it in certain scenes. This movie has its issues. But I'm going to say it is not nearly as bad as people are making it out to be. So I'm going to give Joker Folie à Deux a 7.4 out of 10. Guys, thank you so much for watching my Everything I Watched in November. Guys, let me know if there's a film or topic you'd like me to go over. Give me some time. It's a little busy right now with the holidays, and I'm backed up on all kinds of stuff, but I will get to it eventually. Trust me. Guys, like and subscribe helps me out a lot. Follow me on Letterboxd, Ralph Vader. I'll link that below. I got a podcast with my buddy, The Cutting Room Floor. I'll link that below for more movie content. I will be back next week. And don't forget the popcorn.